Jinger and Joanna Duggar addressed drama after sisters both gave their daughters same nickname. Hello guys, I'm Alana. Please channel subscribe. Welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe the channel bell icon from latest update news. Jinger Duggar Volo is sharing the backstory behind how her niece and her daughter share the same. The soon-to-be mom of 3, 31, and her husband Jeremy Volo sat down with her sister Joanna Duggar Forsyth on the latest episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast to talk about everything from faith to falling in love. During the episode, the trio also revealed the backstory behind how their daughters got the same nickname. There is some drama with the name. Well, it's not really drama, but it was a funny incident with Evie when you named Evelyn. Tell that story, Jeremy said to Joanna. We've had 2 people in the last week be like, oh, there's 2 Evies, because especially when we're together we get asked, added Joanna. Weil kept your Evie. Her name was a secret until she was born, and she was born about 6 months before our Evie, Jinger explained. When she was born, you sent a video to the family, and you said, first, we're going to tell you the nickname name. It's Evie. When you sent that video, I'll never forget, we look at each other like, oh my goodness, Jeremy added. Never miss a story. Sign up for People's free daily newsletter to stay up to date on the best of what POPLE has to offer, from celebrity news to compelling human interest stories. At the time, the couple, who typically keep their names quiet, called Joanna and her husband Austin Forsyth to find out if it was okay that their names were the same. We did not care at all, but I do remember Weil calling me and I was like, that's so great. It's going to be confusing, but it's going to be awesome, Joanna added. As Jinger prepares to welcome another bundle of joy, she is tapping into some sisterly support. The Counting On star, who currently shares 2 daughters, Evangeline, 4, and Felicity, 6, with her husband, told POPL in an exclusive interview earlier this month that she has been leaning on her sister Joanna a lot as she prepares to welcome a new baby into her family. I've been talking to Joy a lot because we're kind of in the same season. She has 3 kids and I'm going on 3 kids, said Jinger, whose latest book, People Pleaser, was released on January 14. And so we chat a ton, just FaceTime calls, or just to catch up. Joanna and husband share sons Gunnar, 20 months, and Gideon, 6, and daughter Evelyn, 4. On January 14, the reality star revealed the sex of her 3rd baby with her husband, 3 months after announcing the news of their pregnancy. We're having a boy, and we're very excited, she told Entertainment Tonight. I was so shocked to find out it was a boy, because I feel like everything felt the same. I actually had a lot of similarities to the pregnancy with the girls. I was so shocked, I almost fell off my chair, she said, adding that having a boy was a foreign thing to the couple after welcoming 2 girls. I was like, how is this the boy gonna fit in? But we are keeping the name a secret until the baby's born, which is what we always do. Duggar Volo noted that the 2 have faced less judgment with names after choosing to wait until the baby is born. We've had friends who've had issues with people like, oh, I'm gonna share the name, and then no one likes it, she explained. But once that baby's born, everybody thinks it's the cutest name ever. So that's our motto, our theory on it. Jinger Duggar isn't mad at parents for raising family in IBLP. They did their best. Jinger Duggar is sharing how she really feels about being raised under the fundamentalist Christian teachings of the Institute in Basic Life Principles, IBLP organization. During the Wednesday, February 12th, episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast, the former TLC star and her husband, Jeremy Volo, answered frequently asked questions from fans. Are you angry at your parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, for leading you to follow the Institute of Basic Life Principles? Volo, 37, asked his wife. Jinger, 31, wasted no time replying. No, she said. And I can say that very clearly because I see how so many families, wanted the guarantee for success for their kids. They were promised it, and they said, if you do this, your kids will turn out. And so I think that a lot of parents who walked into IBLP, they were well-meaning. Jinger acknowledged that there will be challenges and struggles that I face because of the way she was raised. It's not always easy, and looking at it as a parent now, I can see how easy it was for my parents to get wrapped up in that teaching, she continued. They went into it thinking, this is how we're going to teach our kids to love Jesus. And who doesn't want that? According to Jinger, many families ended up not seeing the success that was promised by IBLP and its founder, the controversial minister Bill Gothard. And that's what's heartbreaking, she explained. Because as a parent, you want to make the best decisions, pray through what you're supposed to do. And I really believe my parents sought to do that for us kids. I don't have any anger toward them for it because, I just see that they did their best. They did what they thought was right in the moment. Jinger and her 18 siblings grew up following Gothard's teachings, which included homeschooling and dressing modestly. In an exclusive interview with Us Weekly, Jinger previously described her upbringing as cult-like in many ways. It was built on fear, manipulation, control, and superstition. So all those things combined in how hard it is for kids to leave or adults to leave. Anyone, really. Once you hear the teachings, you're not supposed to depart from those, she told us in January 2023. Jinger recalled feeling gripped with fear when she was younger. I'd be thinking, am I pleasing to God? I don't know what God expects of me. And so I would be so terrified to, even go play sports with my siblings. I'd think, maybe I'm supposed to stay home and read my Bible for hours and hours. I'm not sure, she continued. So that kind of fear did cripple me. Jinger Duggar says her relationship with parents is not perfect, but she still loves them. The counting on alum reflected on her childhood further in her books, Becoming Free Indeed and People Pleaser, the latter of which was released this year. She referred to IBLP as a form of Fox Christianity that was all built on the appearance of holiness, writing in People Pleaser, if you messed up in that setting, you were at risk for losing your community by not living up to the Gothard standards. Jinger isn't the only Duggar to distance herself from the IBLP lifestyle. Her sister Jill Duggar has also been candid about leaving the ultra-conservative practice behind, and about her strained relationship with Jim Bob, 59, and Michelle, 58. Jinger, however, has insisted that she feels grateful for the upbringing she had. It was not perfect, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful for my parents. Jinger said on the Unplanned podcast in June 2024. I love them. We have differences. Everything's not perfect between us. But I think that at the end of the day, I love them, and I know that they know that. Jinger Duggar Vulo says her parents were well-meaning with teachings from her former church. Looking at it as a parent now, I can see how easy it was for my parents to get wrapped up in that teaching. Jinger said of the controversial ultra-Christian organization, the Institute in Basic Life Principles. Jinger Duggar Vulo doesn't hold any ill will towards her parents for her religious upbringing. The counting on alum 31 reflected on her parents Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar's decision to raise her and her 18 siblings in the controversial ultra-Christian organization, the Institute in Basic Life Principles, IBLP, after being outspoken against IBLP's teachings and its minister, Bill Gothard, in recent years. While answering fans' questions on the latest episode of Jinger and Jeremy podcast, the former reality star was asked if she felt angry towards her parents for following IBLP teachings. No, she responded, and I can say that very clearly because I see how so many families wanted the guarantee for success for their kids. They were promised it, and they said, if you do this, your kids will turn out. And so I think that a lot of parents who walked into IBLP, they were well-meaning. However, the people pleaser, breaking free from the burden of imaginary expectations, author admitted that there will be challenges and struggles that I face due to her upbringing. It's not always easy, and looking at it as a parent now, I can see how easy it was for my parents to get wrapped up in that teaching because they were well-meaning, she explained. They went into it thinking, this is how we're going to teach our kids to love Jesus, and who doesn't want that? Jinger revealed that many families in the faith didn't experience the success they were promised by Gothard, which she called heartbreaking. Because as a parent, you want to make the best decisions, pray through what you're supposed to do, and I really believe my parents sought to do that for us kids. I don't have any anger toward them for it because, I just see that they did their best, she said. They did what they thought was right in the moment. The mother of two, who is expecting her third child with husband Jeremy Volo, reflected how the teachings of IVLP impacted her self-confidence in an interview with Bill. I will just say a lot of it started when I was in the teachings of Bill Gothard, because there was so much that was drilled into you through what he said about trying to please your husband, and if you don't, he's going to leave you, because you don't have a perfectly clean house, or maybe you don't make the dinner on time, or you're not joyfully available to him at all times, she shared at the time. It was also focused on, do this, do this, do this, do this, otherwise, you're not going to be enough for him. Even having differences, because arguments don't equal rejection, and that's something that I've learned over the years, she added. Never miss a story. Sign up for People's free daily newsletter to stay up to date on the best of what POPLE has to offer, from celebrity news to compelling human interest stories. Jinger Duggar Vulo recalls jolt realization of an identity crisis 2 years into her marriage. Who am I? Exclusive. I realized I was so worried about what other people thought about me that it kind of led me down not the best path in my thoughts, the people-pleaser author tells. Jinger Duggar Volo is shedding new light on her personal experiences. While speaking with People about her newly released book, People Pleaser, Breaking Free from the Burden of Imaginary Expectations, the former reality star recalled how she had an identity crisis and how she overcame it. Realized I was so worried about what other people thought about me that it kind of led me down not the best path in my thoughts. And I thought oh, I'm too fat. Even though I wasn't, Jinger, 31, tells People exclusively. That's where it started. I think when I was a teen. Thankfully, I had awesome people who came around me and helped me out of that struggle of just struggling with an eating disorder. Jinger notes how that was when she saw her people-pleasing tendencies first show up, and it just kind of continued from there. I think some of it can be temperament because I'm more passive, and I really do like to be on everyone's good side or being a peacemaker, which is not always the worst thing, she explains. But I think what I saw was throughout my life, that pattern continued. There would be times where I was like, oh, I really wish I could say something, she continues. Or I wish that I could speak up, because somebody would paint me in a bad light, and I was like, that's not who I am. Or I want to say something, but I was too afraid to say anything. That really over the years just continued and built up to where I was isolating myself so much. It was really a lonely place to be. Her realization of just how much things had worsened occurred 2 years into her now 8-year marriage to husband Jeremy Vulo, who she wed in November 2016. Whenever we were first married, I remember just being afraid of almost everyone, afraid to trust them, she recalls. I think some of that is from being in the public eye, right? You have a level of self-protection. But I realized that it went to a very unhealthy place. I was so afraid to go to coffee or go to lunch with someone because I was protecting myself from other people being able to criticize me or to think wrongly of me or to see that, yeah, maybe I was sheltered and I didn't have all the knowledge that they did. I was embarrassed about that. The mother of 2, who is currently expecting her 3rd child, says that feeling just grew more and more. We were a couple of years into marriage, really, when I realized I think that jolt of Okay, wow, who am I? I'm living in a clone of who people think I am and who they want me to be, and I actually want to see, okay, who is Jinger and what things do I enjoy now? What do I believe about certain topics? Admittedly, Jinger says she was afraid to talk to her own husband about things that were bothering me, noting I tried to keep up this perfect wife mentality, and a lot of that was from being raised in the system of Bill Gothard of the Institute in Basic Life Principles. Jinger opens up about this matter in her new book, which was released last month. She uses the medium to explore the cause of her people-pleasing tendencies and the remedy to the problem while sharing personal stories along the way. Just like in her book, Jinger tells people that Jeremy, 37, was of great help in her healing journey, especially when it came to speaking what's on her mind. I think he really helped me to grow in that area because he would say, I don't know who Jinger is. I would hear what you're thinking about. What things do you like? What things do you not like? Please tell me if I do anything that annoys you. Tell me, she shares. And I was like, no, heck no, I'm not doing the perfect wife. But he really challenged me just to be myself. She adds, that gave me so much freedom to be able to open up and be vulnerable, and then to be able to build genuine relationships where now I have a core group of friends and us moms go out and do fun things. Never miss a story. Sign up for People's free daily newsletter to stay up to date on the best of what POPLE has to offer, from celebrity news to compelling human interest stories.